So Jamal Hill is lighting it up, man. I have never been satisfied with the way the Jamal Hill story has been told. We've never seen anything like this. And any other time, when we have somebody new come over to our sport, oh, by the way, and they have a level of success, we do countdowns on this. We make documentaries out of it. It's the only headline and narrative that you have. There's this great big guy. They even called him something. They called him something that had to do with his size. Came through the Ultimate Fighter, and he was a handful. Matt Mitrione, Brendan Schaub, and they had spent time in the NFL. So the guy I'm talking about, was he New York Giants? Anyway, very tough. He was a lot to deal with. But we made this huge deal about Brendan, about Mitrione. We have guys come over. I remember Herschel Walker. Herschel's done a whole bunch of things, but he was an NCAA champion in track and field. He was a qualified Olympian in the boycotted 1980 games in track and field. When he was getting ready to fight, they were talking about the fact that he was an Olympian in bobsled. And my point for you is, when we have somebody come over from a different field, we celebrate it. Look at what they're doing right now with Kayla Harrison. And Kayla wasn't even the first. She was the first to do what Ronda had done and to have more decorative career. Okay. So when I talk about Jamal as the first ever college basketball player, a scholarship basketball player, to become a mixed rules combat champion, I don't know why that story hasn't been told. I don't know why it hasn't been told more. And I mean, it is such an oxymoron. The wrestlers and the basketball players can never quite get it right. And the reason they can't do it is the seasons are the same. At all of your high schools, when it was basketball season, it was also wrestling season. That's why no wrestlers play basketball and no basketball players wrestled, and you have to choose one. So right there, in and of itself, you're going to have a little bit of a rivalry. And then you look at the fact that they are polar opposite sports. In wrestling, you must grab a hold of that guy. In basketball, you had better not touch that guy. So how does Jamal, who's coming up through basketball, the no contact deluxe. Do you ever see a basketball player get bumped? They fall down, and their mom's in the stands booing. Oh, he just got bumped. Like a guy hit him with his chest. You ever see that? It's a shock that one of those guys can come over to the full contact sport. It really is. It's not a big shock when the NFL guys that are big and strong and usually going at each other. It's not a big shock when the judicos or the collegiate wrestlers come over. It's not. This is basketball. It's a big surprise. And then he has to give his belt back because he got injured in a pickup game of basketball. He was the only basketball player on the court. Daniel Cormier was on the court, for goodness sakes. The only basketball player on the court is the one that ends up getting hurt to the point that he has to give the belt back, the very belt that he has come back to reclaim because he never lost in the first place. Like, I'm not thrilled about the way Jamal's story has been told. Oh, by the way, he found a whole bunch of confidence. Now, when he went out there and he became world champion, to become world champion, what he had to overcome, he had to go to Brazil and deal with Glover. That's a tough night out. But not only do it, he did it in dominant fashion. He really did. And he wanted to defend. And he's been very clear that he'll defend against anybody. And as soon as he gets an opportunity, he's been popping up and cornering guys. He's been at every event. He's doing all the meets, doing everything that he can. He never wanted to leave the sport. Like, it was a really hard time for him on a personal note to get hurt and injured. And as soon as he got this opportunity, he jumped at it, and he's pretty sure he's going to beat up Alex Pereira. I'm not sure he's not. But I'm not to the point of the week to give you a prediction just yet. But it is one of those situations where when I saw him go out and strike with Glover, I mean, he's just a brute, Jamal. And the way he fights longer than he actually is. He fights taller than he actually is. I mean, he never misses, and he looks like he just got this Jon Jones reach, and he's too tall to deal with it. He's actually not. He's got some ability. He's got some ability to do some of those things. I'm sharing with you. That's not where he's convinced he can do his best work. He thinks he can do his best work on the ground. It's an interesting fight, man. And I'm not just putting Jamal over. Look, Pereira's awesome, but that's known that he's awesome. He's the one bringing the belt. I'm just here to remind you, it's a belt that was Jamal's, and Jamal never lost it.